Ron?
Yep.
Okay, I'd like to call the March 27th, 2025 meeting of the County of Oswego Industrial Development Agency to order. Tim, could you do a roll call?
Sure thing. Nick Canale.
Present.
Pat Carroll.
Present.
Trish Peter Clark.
Present.
And Tim Stallheim here. Both Mark Greco, Mary Ellen Tesbro, and Gary Standard are absent excused today. We do have a quorum.
Okay. Austin, can you tell us what we got from the staff?
From the staff, we have CEO Austin Wheelock. We have Operations Oswego County staff, Nate Emmons, and we have General Counsel for the IDA, Kevin Carapoli. Kevin LaMontagne is also excused today.
Okay. Any visitors coming today?
No visitors for today's meeting.
Great. Item number 1 on the agenda is the minutes. The minutes from last month's IDA meeting. Anybody have any questions or comments on that?
I'll make a motion to approve. I'll second.
Christian and Tim. Whoa, Christian, Tim second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Governance committee meetings minutes. Anything we need to discuss about that, Austin, or Kevin? I think it's pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah, it's really more of just an introductory meeting, and there will be additional meetings before our annual meeting in August.
All right. I'll take the motion on that. Pat, second.
I'll second.
Tricia. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Notice of the meeting was in the Pale Times on March 13th. Finance report for February 28th.
Sure. Yeah, I'll go over that. So, nothing too new related to here. One thing I do want to say, and this is Kevin provided me some notes on this. In terms of on the balance sheet, there's nothing due to the taxing authorities for pilots as of the end of February. We have been collecting pilots over the month of March, so that will be reflected in the March statement. So balance sheet, nothing really need to report there. In terms of on the income statement, we have several projects that are ready to close. We actually just closed a project last week with Chase Enterprises related to a project that was approved last year. We have several others that are in various phases of closing, so not really any concern there. Just that we have a large balance of projects that are ready to close it. And
that's going to help our net income line.
Yeah, I would say that where we have in terms of our queue of those are significantly above what our projected number is. So it's just the timing of those getting done.
Okay.
So, but there was a minor thing related to on the income statement. Related to item 4.7, and this was something that Kevin wanted to bring to our attention. We may bring it up again, but at next, but there was a minor credit of $47 that was related to a cleanup from a transaction way back in 2018. It was just something that hadn't been caught with us moving to QuickBooks Online more recently. It was something we were able to kind of catch, and so that minor correction had been completed. And we're already working with the auditors related to that. I don't think it's going to be anything really. $47.
47.
No, so it's they didn't catch it either. So we'll get it taken care of. But yeah, so that's the financial statement.
Okay. Any questions? Comments? Concerns?
Make a motion to approve.
Tricia. Second. Pat.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Board member reappointment.
Sure. So the county legislature did officially reappoint all members of the IDA board at their meeting on March 13th, which means that we have 30 days to get signed cards, appointment cards back to the county. So I do have those for everyone here in attendance today. If you could sign that, and we'll get that notarized by Karen before you leave. We'll have that taken care of. The county has already taken care of that related to, I think, Mark, Tim, and Mel. So the only one we'll have to do is Gary because he's not here today, but we can get that. We'll get that taken care of. So Trish, I have yours here. Nick, I have yours. And just please sign it on the left side there and get it back to me and back to me. I'm a notary too. Yep, and we'll have Kevin do it too. So, so anyway, so that takes care of that. It's just something that I think that the county has expressed that You know, they have the ability to reappoint every year. They're taking that ability to do it. You know, we just need to make sure on our end that, no, we do the cards and stuff like that and get it back to them, but, you know, they'll take care of that. So, but no issues there. We have a great relationship with the county, reappointed everybody that's on board.
Wonderful. So nothing to vote on there, civic service CRM project management
Sure.
software?
Yeah, so I'm gonna talk about this. I'll also give Nate the chance to fill in any gaps that I'm sure I'll have. So we have for probably almost the entire time that Nate's been here, been looking for a new CRM program, project management program, program portal. And so we've been looking for like this Goldilocks unicorn program out there, and so we've looked at multiple different things that had some of what we were looking for, but not everything. Nate was able to actually, this is probably maybe 3 months ago now, 4 months ago, I think 3 months ago, came across a company called CivicServe that does economic relationship management software. So this has built into it, it has a powerful CRM, it has a project management, it has event management. So when we're, you know, doing like next week, I'll do a plug real quick. We're having a Dell drop groundbreaking on the Thursday at 1 o'clock in the industrial park. With this software, we would have been able to do all of that through that. When we don't, we have to use all these different softwares that don't talk to each other. So right now we have a CRM, we have a different program, which is Basecamp for project management. These things don't talk to each other. We don't actually have a and so one of the things we want to add is we can actually have, they will develop a website that has all of our programs in an online format you can fill out, and you can actually, we're looking at how we can actually even have some self-filtering and things to get people to the exact right program. That would be become another page related to the IDA and OOC website. So it would have a lot of the things that we don't currently have. This has already gone to the Operation Oswego County Board. We presented it to them. They have approved that they'd like for us to adopt and use the software. I think that this will make us more efficient and effective. You know, as a staff, if each of us could become 10% more effective and efficient with this, it's going to more than pay for itself. And I think it's going to be better than that. But so currently, for different softwares that Operation Oswego County is paying for that kind of to do what we're doing, we're paying about $9,500 a year for these different softwares that don't give us the full capacity that this does. And these things don't communicate to each other. I mean, we're in a CRM, then we have to get out of it. We have to go into project management. We do that, and it creates some issues. So this is an all-in-one software. Everything's connected. Everything it has it all built in. It's an additional cost. So for everything that we're looking at, and it also has business retention expansion built into it. So you can do right through the software, you can send out surveys to all of your manufacturing businesses, your tourism, or your businesses within this, you know, XYZ zip code or whatever, and do all these different things. The cost of the software is $19,500 per year. So it's an additional cost to us of about $10,000 above what we're doing now. It does have a significant, especially with the different programs that are going to be built into that program portal, a significant portion of it is related to IDA programming. So what I'm asking, and completely up to you what you want to do, is because it's $10,000 more than what we're currently paying for software, we're asking to see if the IDA would cost share that additional $10,000. We're not asking for anything. So what we'd be asking for is $5,000. We're currently paying $9,500. We're looking to go to $19,500. If we were able to do this, it would mean that the Operation Oswego County increase in cost is going to be $5,000, and it would be asking for the IDA at least for 1 year to share in that cost. And it's going to have impacts and help us doing economic development for both OOC and the IDA. So, if there's any questions related to it, you have this here. I also can tell you the different what it can do. I think it meets some of the things that we were looking for with our web portal, not necessarily the whole thing, but I've had some conversations with Tim and other people at the county how we can do that stuff. So like I said,
Austin, is your thought to use out of the money that we've got set aside for the portal, which your thought to
that would be separate. No, I think that's separate.
Still think we'll need that funding?
Yes. Yeah, I think for some things that we can talk about that, but this would be something separate,
So it's
so
coming from the pilot EDF money then?
we could do it out of pilot EDF. I mean, it could come out of economic advancement plan, it could come out of different things that are already there.
Well, this is an ongoing cost. I
Yeah.
don't necessarily know that.
This-
I recommend not doing it on EDF, just because that is more event-based.
Yep.
Kind of one shot or whatever, as opposed to something that's an annual
Maybe they should
subscription.
come out of the general fund?
I think so. That'd be my recommendation.
And we're only, at this point, we are only set up for 1 year for it. If it works well, and we think it will, then we'll continue to go for
What if we
that.
did the first year out of that, and then if it is something becomes an ongoing expense, we just budget for it? Is that reasonable?
That's, if that's something that the board decides to do.
So allocate, so spend, offer up $5,000 out of the pilot EDF fund for this year as a pilot program. Test this and see how it works, and if it works well, then we'll budget for it next year and put it in, take it out of the general fund and pay for it there.
It's reasonable to me.
Okay? You made that motion?
Yep, I'll make that motion.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Didn't need you to have to even go into the stuff about it. Is there anything you wanted to add? Because I know I will say, I want to give a lot of credit to this, to Nate. When he came in, I said, listen, we need something better. And he spent a lot of time looking through different Blue Dot, through all these different
All
things.
these other programs.
Yeah, and this was really the only one that had everything.
It checked a lot of boxes that we're looking at. We're the, I don't know if you mentioned this, we'll be the second economic development group in the state using this, so Chautauqua County being the first, so. So we were gonna be the first, but they beat us to the punch, so. It's good to be another good company though, knowing that there are other entities in the state that are signing on. So that was a positive for us that, we won't be the lone group. But it is, other municipalities across the US use it as well. So it's a good program. We're excited about it.
Yeah, and the other nice thing about this, and I know you guys already approved it, but I do want to say, so one of the nice things about it is that for every project, a lot of our stuff pilot related and other things is we're doing it manually, it's done manually. We can actually go in on the CRM on an existing pilot, and we create a login for a company to go into that portal website. They can go in and they can see how much time is left on their pilot. What does their pilot do? All these different things related to an application that is in process. They can go in and see what step they're at. Okay, I've got my first approval. I still need to do this, and it allows us to be able to communicate that to them just proactively without them having to reach out. And so that's when I say things like it's going to make us more efficient and effective, like that is just one way there that we could do that. And then when they have questions, we can refer them, go check there, instead of having to, take a call or answer an email on some of those things. It can free up some time for us and just allow us to provide more information without people having to ask for it.
Great. Thank you. Thank you both for your time and effort into that. Number 6,
Sure.
2025 Site Selectors Guild event update.
Yeah, so I attended Site Selectors Guild representing both the Operation Oswego County and the IDA a couple weeks ago. This is their major event. This is their annual conference. This was held in Florida. I was in good company there. They have a good team from New York State. Empire State Development was there. Multiple people from Onondaga County, their economic development team were there, as well as Rochester, Buffalo, Albany, some of our other kind of counterparts around the state. Fulton County had people there as well. So and these are, so it was good for us to go. These other entities that are sort of our peers around the state, they've been going to this for years. And so this was sort of them saying, oh, you guys are in the game now. You're coming and you're marketing and pushing yourself. In terms of the site selection, representatives there made good connections with entities, from Deloitte, from GSLI, from these are all the entities that represent major Fortune 500 companies when they're making their expansions and their relocations. So having these connections, having them know who you are, what your assets are, what your sites are, can help you just kind of skip the line when they're doing site searches. They already know, hey, Oswego County, we met with those guys. They have this 185-acre site up there. Let me just reach out and see if that's still available. So of us having to go through a whole process. You make these relationships so that when these things happen, it may not even be a site search. It might just be I'm gonna reach out to a couple people that I know have something, and you want to be included in those sort of relationships. So it was strong for those reasons. I think that you know, we have something compelling right now in terms of, you know, we have almost unlimited water, we have almost unlimited power in our county. You know, there was actually a couple people were interested to hear about our power assets. They were also interested to hear that there's potential that there's momentum around potentially a fourth nuclear plant in Oswego County. That's something that not a lot of places around the country right now can say that they, you know, could have something like that coming online. Now it takes a while, but those are the kinds of things that say, wow, okay, well, if we're, you know, if we're, you know, looking at a project that could be hundreds of megawatts, and that's where things are going right now. The 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the average size of a project that was being dealt with by a site selector, I actually have a slide for this. I'm showing you my phone, but the average size of power was 15 megawatts for a project. The last 3 years, that power need has gone up to over 100 megawatts. And that's because many of these projects are data centers that are eating up 500 megawatts to a gigawatt in a project. And those things, when they have projects that big, it kind of pushes your average size up. But not just that, but like clean energy related projects, you know, they're the battery store, you know, battery EV manufacturing and all these different things are massive power needed projects. And so we have assets. It's just them knowing that they exist, and being able to get that information out. So for those reasons, it was good for us to connect with our counterparts around the state. But it was also really good for us to be able to make those connections with site selectors, because a lot of them, you know, you send them emails, but unless they know who you are and you're making that connection, they can put a name with a face. You know, you're not going to get any special treatment. So it's good for that reason.
It's an annual event.
This is an annual event. They actually do 2 events per year. The annual conference is in the spring, and then in the fall they do their fall conference, which is a smaller event. But this is the one. This is the one that you can go to do. So there's about 450 people there. Let's say about 300 of them were economic development related, and about 150 of them were site selectors. So it is their main event for the year, and they all go to it.
Is there more we should be doing?
Yes, and there's plans. So later this year, actually in May, there's going to be Select USA, which is foreign direct investment related. So this is companies looking to invest in the US for manufacturing projects and warehousing, distribution, R&D, and all those sorts of things.
We send you to Dubai for that one?
It's actually, they have a component of it happening in Syracuse. So Nate and I will be
A
attending that.
little different than Dubai.
Yeah, they're having a main event, which
I know,
is
right?
in Maryland, and then they're having a side event, which is in Syracuse, happening at the same time. So for us, it makes sense to do the Syracuse one, because obviously people who are interested in our market, we should be talking about. But you know, Semicon is another one that we're looking at again for October. That's going to be in Phoenix this year. You know, and there's some other things that potentially could make sense, but really we need to look at what our assets are and what our clusters are, and make sure we're not going to like the bioscience. We're not going to ones that just don't make sense for what our assets are, unless we can make that case. So I think for now, like Select USA, Semicon, this makes sense, but there could be some other ones that we look to do in future years.
Okay, great. Thank you. Anything else on that?
That's it. It was just a great event, and hopefully we'll see some fruits come out of that in the near future.
Okay, moving on to the housing study update.
Turn that one right over to Nate.
Obviously Tim can chime in too, but we are really in the final phase of the actual housing study itself. There is a MRB is working on a sort of final draft, if you will, of their report. They met with the steering committee last week. That's right, last week. And so walked through a lot of their report in terms of their findings. A lot of questions were asked and answered. Feedback was provided. So they're in a phase right now of putting the report together, making it pretty for a final presentation. So I think again, we can continue to be pleased with their work on it, and looking forward to their final product. Once this phase is done, there is actually one more phase. They will create some marketing materials for us to be able to provide to housing developers to highlight, the assets the county has, locations, lots of geographical and other population data related to the county that would be useful for an outside developer to have and make good decisions on kind of where to develop in the county. So that will be kind of 2 months, a month and a half to 2 months post final report.
Are we looking at them doing a presentation to us next month for the idea?
Yes, yeah, and so what we're in discussions on right now is whether to, they will be making a presentation, whether it's part of, whether it's right after their final report or if it's right after the marking materials are done. We're kind of discussing that right
It'll either
now.
be next month or potentially like
Yeah.
a May meeting.
My sense would be that correct me if I'm wrong, but why don't we have them make the report to us before they design the marketing materials, in case we
So
want
any
to
input?
direct some
Sure.
input into what we want marketing,
Sounds great to me.
okay?
Yep.
So it'd be probably our April meeting.
April meeting? Yep.
And the next question would be, are they only presenting it to us? Do we want to have anyone else included in the presentation? Somebody from, the county, somebody else from the county, anyone,
Well,
we want to take this report and present it to developers. Do we want to have developers, have them make a presentation to any developers? Schedule an event where developers could show up and hear the presentation or something along those
So
lines.
great idea. We didn't have it built in that way, but I think we could go back, especially with that marketing report and other
Maybe a
things. And
marketing
I think it would probably make sense when you have the marketing report to do that part, because we'll have any final input we'll have. And then it is, you have something to leave with them with that report. So let's talk to them about that. And, maybe we're thinking
Great
of
idea.
like late May or June, we can have some sort of an event where you bring developers. And I do think it still probably would make sense to have something. So maybe the same day we have the IDA meeting, if they're going to be in town, maybe we have earlier that day, a meeting with the county. Yeah, just to make sure, because if they can't make it to this.
Or with the steering committee. I mean, there's
Yeah.
others that have been.
Well,
on
I think
it.
they had planned on doing a
Yeah.
rollout, like
Yeah.
presentation meeting
Yes.
to
Yeah.
the community, which would include the steering committee.
Yeah.
So we can just get
We can figure that out.
the final details on that. I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, but definitely we're gonna make a presentation to the IDA and the steering committee. We'll let you know how the.
I mean, that could be a joint presentation, a steering committee could
Could
be
be.
here at the IDA meeting.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it just didn't know if there was anybody else at the county that we should be inviting to this type of thing. That's
Probably is. So I think we have good representation on the steering committee, with people from the county, but I think, obviously the more the better for that.
all right.
Tim, anything else you wanted to share on that? I know you've been very involved.
I want to give a lot of credit to the MRB group. I think they put together a really excellent study. They've been very attentive to everything Nate and I asked, and there were a lot of things we asked for.
Yeah.
But they were able to make the changes. They were able to keep us on rails without getting, project creep or price creep or anything like that. And they were able to, I think, really put together a pretty excellent proposal. We'll see what the final looks like, but they've done an excellent job.
There was like 16, their action matrix, draft action matrix had like 16 areas that all had then bullets under that. So it was very thorough in terms of the different areas that they're looking at. Almost more than I thought they would be looking at areas that are sort of tangential to housing, but it's part of it, So I think when we had some input on that at our last thing of, how they should address some of those things, because it is sort of.
We don't want too much either, so that was the
Yeah.
focus, help us give us some like low hanging fruit. What's your first targets? How do you start to show that this had a achievable change in the market? So I think they've done a great job. I'm impressed with it.
And I appreciate that they surveyed the businesses too. I know that was like
Yes.
a last minute request
Well,
or a thought, but.
It was a good idea. Should have been in there to begin with. And
Yeah.
we don't do a lot of housing studies, so we didn't think that, we know that now going forward.
Yeah, I think that was great. And I think hopefully you got some great feedback from the businesses about what they were looking for too for recruitment. It's awesome.
Yeah, they did 2 different surveys. They did like a community survey and then a business survey, and then they also did the stakeholder interview. They did a lot of.
Well, they did a landlord survey too, which I think was very beneficial.
Oh, yeah.
And then meeting with the school districts was crucial. That was something I think, that
So a lot of these were things
a
that
large net was cast, that's for sure.
we expanded the scope without them expanding the budget, so it was nice to get that done.
That's
Great.
wonderful.
Thank you. Thanks for everybody for your work on that. 2025 pilot invoices up there.
Sure. So at this point, we have everybody as of early March has been invoiced. We have over the month been receiving payment. We actually are just doing our first, I think, you might have that, first mass disbursement of checks to the taxing authorities. So the way this works is within 30 days of us getting payment, we have to then disperse payment. And really, it's just for us to make sure that the check's clear, that we're, not sending out money that we didn't receive. But no, everything's kind of going according to plan on that. I had Karen kind of run me as of now. I think we're at like, as of the 26th, so as of yesterday, we've gotten at 80% of our payments. And the other thing is there's several of them that come ACH and they have it scheduled like to come on the 31st. And so there's gonna be a significant amount of them that are gonna come on the last day, just the way it is, because that's how they have it scheduled. But I think we're in a good spot on that. Nothing that we're aware of that is out of the ordinary, and it's been a pretty painless process this year. I think every year we try to get incrementally better at doing this and making sure it all works. And I think it's been a good year so far for it. So what I will do is at next month's meeting, I will give you after the end of the month clears, we'll an update of just everything in, is there anything that isn't, and kind of what the plan is for anybody who may be delinquent at that point. But as of now, we're not aware of anybody, let me just say this, anybody that we aren't aware of that will be here. So no, it's been good so far.
Did you say you're not aware of anything you're not aware of?
Listen, maybe I said that, I don't know. No, it's you don't know what you don't know. Yeah, everything's been going well on it. Yeah. Yep. In past years, there may have been times where we knew something wasn't gonna come. There's none of that.
Okay. No motion required on that. Looks like the next couple items need to be discussed in executive session. Kind of, can you tell us about?
Yep, would be under Public Officers Law, Section 105, to discuss the financial history of a particular individual or person, as well as pending or threatened litigation.
Okay. Can I get a motion to go into executive session?
Make a motion.
Tricia, seconded by Pat, at 1:33. All those in favor?
I
Aye.
Any opposed? We are now in executive.